In Helldivers, samples are one of the most important materials you will be collecting, as they are used to upgrade your ship and in turn stratagems. Example of these upgrades would be giving your turrets more ammunition, your eagle stratagems faster reload, as well as the ability to carry 2 500kg bombs instead of just one. And as such, getting these upgrades can kind of change how you play the game and will make you feel a little bit more powerful. In this video, we're going to go over everything you need to know about the samples, where to find them, rules on acquisition, things like that. And to get started, we're just going to go over how samples show up in missions. So common samples, unsurprisingly, are available at any difficulty. Rare start showing up at difficulty 4, and the super samples start showing up at difficulty 7. But the super samples are extremely limited and kind of has their own rules, which we'll go over a little bit later. But at difficulty 7, they start showing up with 3 being available in a mission. You can get 5 at difficulty 8, 6 at difficulty 9. The rares, as I said, show up at difficulty 4, but generally any sample, well, the common and rare samples will scale with difficulty in the sense that you'll be finding more samples in the mission and there'll be more at each point of interest. Keep in mind also there are missions that does not abide by this rule. The defense mission, where you have to kill a certain number of enemies, being a good example. Those missions only have 10 common samples in the same spot, even at Helldiver difficulty. So if you want to farm rare or super samples, defense missions just aren't good for that because their samples just aren't available. Now, the main places you'll be finding samples on the maps are, as I mentioned, points of interest. These can be mission objectives, enemy stronghold, or nests. So when you clear them out, make sure you take a look around, look for anything that looks like a sample. There can be quite a lot at some places, can be virtually nothing at others. So make sure you clear out the area and have a good look for these samples. Now, other places are basically minor points of interest, which are marked on the map by diamonds. These can be gravestones. There's usually a couple of common samples around them. Crashed ships, old buildings, shipping containers. If you do run into a shipping container that's stuck into the ground, you can actually break it open with an explosive, and you can even find super credits, the premium currency in them, as well as samples. The bunkers in each place open as well has usually some samples in them, as well as super credits, and also shiny pods can contain samples, super credits, or weapons. So generally just clearing out all of these small points of interest is going to be a good way to farm samples. But honestly, the best way for sample farming is to just team up with a group of players that has the same goal of farming samples, and you just sweep through the maps in quick fashion. It's pretty efficient. However, farming solo is doable, but keep in mind it's going to be way more effective with a team, as there isn't really a get samples quick scheme. You can do the defense mission as I mentioned, but that's only for common samples, and well, there isn't really anything other than just doing the missions effectively, and make sure that every player on the team actually pick up the samples that they find. Now, as I mentioned before, super samples are a bit different in the sense that there will be 3 at difficulty 7, 5 at difficulty 8, and 6 at difficulty 9. The reason for this is that the super samples spawn in the exact same location on every map. Well, not really the exact same location, they spawn under the exact same rock. This is a rock with silver cracks going through it, and the samples will be located below it. Every single super sample in that mission will be below that rock. It'll spawn in a random location, but you get the idea. The rock will change location depending on map. It spawns at a random place, but all the samples will be located below it. So if you're looking to farm super samples, you probably are going to be looking at a map that doesn't have any flora or anything to obstruct your view, like sandstorm. You want to minimize your basically anything that can keep you from seeing that big silvery rock with cracks in it. And as I mentioned, sandstorms, plants, trees, anything like that is gonna limit your line of sight, and it can make you easily miss said rock. Now, to efficiently farm the super samples, you actually can benefit from playing the smaller maps with a team. The 12-minute missions of Hive or Automaton, Hive Destruction or Automaton Factory Destruction missions. These are very short missions where you roam and destroy hive nests or factories. And as I mentioned, any planet really that just doesn't cause problems to your line of sight, it's going to make this a lot easier. Also, to keep in mind, the samples are shared between the team, so it doesn't matter who brings the samples out, as long as you get them on the ship. If the team bring out a total of, say, 40 samples, every member of the team gets 40 samples, so there's no reason to keep team kill. There's been a couple of instances where I've had people straight up tell me that, oh, I stole your samples, ha ha ha. And when I tell them the reality, not only do they feel bad, but they realize that they might probably have screwed themselves over in the past by shooting people at an extraction and then failing to extract themselves. So you get the idea. Do not team kill. It's happened enough that I felt that I should add this to the video. And I hope this answers most of your questions on samples and how to get them. There isn't really any get rich quick scheme here. Getting a good team, going through the maps as quickly as possible, vacuuming everything is going to be the effective way. And also, if you do, you should play at your difficulty. And what I mean by this is, if you struggle at Helldiver for 40 minutes to finish a map and bring out half the samples available on that map, basically 20 commons, 20 rares, and let's say you got the 6 supers, versus playing a difficulty 7 map, which you can complete in, say, 15 to 20 minutes for the team, and bring out basically almost all the samples, you can kind of get the idea that that is more efficient. So play at your difficulty. That's kind of the last little advice that I have. And as you get better gear, as you get better stratagems, you'll be able to play the higher difficulties more efficiently. Of course, if you find the higher difficulties more enjoyable and farming isn't your goal, feel free to play it like that. It's up to the player. These are just my thoughts on how to farm these samples in the most effective way possible. So with that said, I hope this answers most of your questions on samples and how to get them. If there's something I've missed or you have questions, feel free to leave a comment and I'll answer when I can. Thank you for watching. Hope the video was helpful. If it was, please do like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye bye.